What's up and welcome back to episode 7 of Life with Football. I'm Kyle Smith, Platform Sports League. This is a great episode, something I'm really excited about, a conversation that I really got into, finally kind of the mentality behind things, kind of the psychology of a football player, really what I want to be about here at this podcast. So my guest, Travon Reid, former football player, former defensive back at Stony Brook University, which is the FCS school, Long Island, New York, hometown. Trey so we crossed paths. I was the running back coach there for 2 years. Trey came in as a young guy and really grew to be a leader on the team. Actually, I left the profession actually before he got to his senior year to watch him grow to kind of his full potential, but always energetic guy, loved to play football, which is really what we talked about a whole lot. And from the home state of New York, right? This guy's from Brooklyn, New York, born and raised, played high school football at Fort Hamilton High School, and came aboard a college football program that's really skyrocketing in the FCS ranks. So part of the CAA, Colonial Athletic Association. If you don't know about it and you're a parent or a kid that's looking to be recruited and get to that next level of college football, CAA is a great league, a great competition with the likes of James Madison, Richmond, William and Mary, Delaware, Maine, Villanova, so many different schools, man. Huge football, huge programs. So it was exciting to just kind of to get back in touch with Trey, Coach Trey, as they call him now. He had a great career at Stony Brook football. We talked a little bit about what he does after. He created what's called DB Movement, where he trains and mentors young guys from New York City as far as DB training and a whole lot more. So really excited about this conversation. It was great to catch up with Trey, and I appreciate you guys tuning in again. Real quick plug, if you are a middle school athlete or know of a middle school athlete, whether you're a parent, friend, uncle, cousin, whatever, CEPSL, Collectively Evolving Platform Sports League, 7-on-7 league. It's a middle school league, 7th, 8th, and actually 9th graders here in Indianapolis. 4-week season. We got 4 teams, only room for 60 kids. It's going to be a fire league, man. We're really excited about it. I want you guys to go check out all the information on platformsportsleague.com. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out, and I got your answers. Let's get it in. Trey, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
What's going on, man?
What's going on, Coach?
Hey, good to see you, bro.
I know, it's been what? Like 5, 6.
I was thinking of that. I don't even know how long it's been. All right. Trey Reid, man, give me a quick intro to yourself. Let the world know who you are and kind of where you're coming from.
All right, I'm Travon Reid. Now I'm known as Coach Trey. I went to Stony Brook. I played there from 2013 to 2017, in which I played defensive back. 2017 I made third team all conference in the CAA, which was, took a while. It took a while, I must say.
No doubt,
it took
man.
a while.
That's awesome. We'll get into the CAA, man. That's a legit league. But anyway, go ahead.
Now I run DB Movement. It's pretty much a defensive back training that I do, based off the fact that I went to Stony Brook. I played defensive back, and I just simply wanted to give back everything I learned in the position, everything I've studied, to just the youth or anyone, any age group at this point, And that's my goal ultimately, to just give back and, just help these kids craft, or even adults, because I've worked with you NFL guys, so yeah.
Yes, sir. That's awesome, man. How about hometown? Because we're going to talk about that.
From Brooklyn, New York.
Brooklyn, New York, man. So for my small audience, obviously I'm in Indianapolis, so that's where I am, and that's kind of where I started building this whole thing. So a lot of people I work with and talk to are from Indiana and the Midwest, and it's like, what goes on out in New York? And it's kind of as far as football goes. You know what I mean? So give me an idea. I mean, born and raised, right? Brooklyn.
Born and raised, Brooklyn.
Give me an idea, I guess, coming up. You know, obviously this is centered around football. So I guess when did you start, and kind of what was life like? What was football like? Did you start off like youth football, or how old were you when you started playing like organized football?
I first started playing flag football because I was afraid to get hit at like 7 years old.
Right.
So I started at like literally 7 years old. And then I think I got into like organized football when I was 9, I would say, 9 years old.
Okay.
And, like that first week was rough.
Yeah.
That first week was rough, man.
What do you remember about that?
Hey, man, all I know is I put on equipment and I went to hit somebody. At that point, I started questioning football. All rip.
No
I was
doubt.
like, I don't know about this. And at that time, I was, I played baseball and I played basketball. So at that time, I was like, yeah, this football thing is not for me.
Right.
I'm good.
So you stuck with it though somehow.
Yeah, I stuck with it. I took my, my bruises, but I definitely stuck with it though.
Right. So, okay, that brings up a good point. Like, I played quarterback. I didn't like to hit, like, growing up. I think I was lucky because I played quarterback. I mean, I was on defense and stuff and just kind of run around tackling people. But, like, I guess, what did you play growing up or that young?
When I first started organized football, a lot of us laugh about it, but I played defensive tackle.
Right. Nice. Okay. So you were in the mix then. You were in the mix every play. Like I would have thought the same thing, man. I couldn't do that every play. I still couldn't, if you put me in there.
I don't know how I got there though.
So
but after that, I ended up like a year later. I ended up playing running back in youth, and I played running back literally all through youth football. And then my sophomore year of high school, I ended up playing receiver. And then that's when defensive back came along.
Right. Okay. So not until high school.
Yeah, not until high
DB.
school.
Wow.
Yep.
So what for you, give me an idea what you like most about the game. Like what kept you coming back? Was it more of mentality like I'm not going to let this win, or what did you love about it?
It was definitely the fact that I loved the game. Like now that I'm not playing, I realized how much I actually loved it, and I wasn't just playing just to play.
Right.
And growing up, especially in New York City, football is not big here.
Right. And
you really have to love the game to really, kind of enjoy football here in New York City. But I don't know. I just love the game of football. It's like you can get your anger out.
Yeah.
When you're in the field, it's like a war. It's the only place you can hit somebody, be violent, and not, get a charge for it. So it's like, why not do it? You know?
Right. What about like coaches, like those kind of figures as a young kid? I mean, what was it like in youth leagues like that? Because, everywhere around the country is different, right? So just give me an idea, I guess, culture in the young kid football league in NYC.
It was like coaches here in New York City, even at a youth age, they build toughness. And like a lot of people would definitely say New York City has tough kids. And it's true.
That's the
it's
truth.
Definitely true. Coaches start young, the yelling, on you when you're young.
Right.
And I was blessed and lucky that my dad was my coach.
Nice.
From like 9 years old to, I want to say, my 8th grade or 7th grade year. And then after that, he just let me go.
Right. So then you get into high school. Let's talk about high school, I guess. So what high school were we talking about? What school did you go to? I forget.
I went to Fort Hamilton High School out in Brooklyn, Bay Ridge.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Okay. The biggest thing that I saw coming to Stony Brook. So fast forward, Trey and I met I was a coach. I was a running back coach. Trey came in as a DB to Stony Brook, which is out in Long Island, New York. And that was really, so I've been to different schools, but that was really the main focus, was a lot of the kids are coming from the city, right? Locally.
Right,
And,
yeah.
and it was kind of that pipeline. And what I saw, number one, was toughness. Just what you said, like kids that love to play football, and tough and love to be physical and just compete and have a great time doing it, man. That was one of the coolest things. Like, you guys were so tight. You knew each other, you know what I'm saying? So kids coming from different schools, you knew each other, and it just became this brotherhood, but we'll get there. I'm trying to, so I guess sophomore year, you started playing DB, going through your junior year, or when was the first time you started getting into the conversation as far as recruiting, like legit starting to look at colleges, like what am I going to do after high school?
I would say my sophomore year, because my sophomore year we had won a championship at Florence High School, and that year I had 8 interceptions and 4 were returned for touchdowns. And I had receiving touchdowns. I played quarterback. I had rushing touchdowns. So that season, after the season, like we had guys going D1A to Syracuse, a few of my teammates, Wagner. We had a few guys go to D1. And that off season, my first letter was from Wisconsin. My first ever college letter came from Wisconsin. I didn't know to think of anything. Like, I didn't think anything of it. I'm like, oh, Wisconsin, I got a letter. And at that age, I'm not really thinking about, college. Like, at that point, I won a championship. I had a great season. So it was like, okay, like, maybe I could go somewhere, So that's how it all, like, started.
Right. And then I guess from there it just builds. And now you're obviously, we're in different, I would say, generations when it comes to football. Like full-blown internet, full-blown stars and rankings and ratings, camps and showcases and all that. The point of this show, literally what I'm trying to do, like you said, trying to give back knowledge and provide value to your DBs. But my main focus is the mental around everything, and really just kind of that anxiety and that path. Like, okay, now it's time to go to college, and you want to be recruited by the biggest schools. I'm just trying to get into that psyche of what it's like, with schools coming in and out of your school, of your building, and like who wants to talk to me, who doesn't. Like, how did you go about that? How did you navigate that mentally, I guess?
Being so young, as a sophomore, I think the first coach I spoke to was Syracuse, actually, because a few of my teammates were going there.
Right.
So at that point, it was like, oh, this is real. And I'm in 10th grade, and these guys, these adults, these coaches of these institutions are coming in and speaking to me. But at that point, it's like, yo, this is exciting. There was no like, all right, like maybe I need to start like paying attention more and listening to what they need to say. It was more so I was so excited to just have the opportunity to speak to these guys.
Right.
Yeah, so
that's huge.
Why, that was dope.
And you had, obviously with that pipeline and those guys that your teammates were at these schools, it wasn't like nobody was coming to your building, right? Like people were in the hallways, you were seeing coaches, right?
Yeah, I was seeing coaches like literally every day.
That's what's up. And not a lot of people think about that. Schools don't just colleges don't just show up to every single high school in the country. You know what I'm saying? So that's an opportunity in itself, just being there at a culture with kids coming out of there and creating that pipeline and say, oh, there's some talent at that school. So you're going to be seen at least. All right. So you're going into junior season, right? Tell me about that quick, and kind of what was the summary of junior year?
Junior season was, I would personally say, the turning point of everything. Because going into my junior year, we had just won a championship. I was that dude now.
Right.
Those guys left. So now it's technically my team. Well, it wasn't my team, but like it was a collective group of us. Like now This is our time. And, going to this season, we started off great. Like we just knew we were going to win a championship again. And that was my mindset. Like now I'm a junior. This is like, I'm up there now. So going into the year, we started hot. I was playing well, and then we played against Wagner, and I had caught a stinger in my shoulder, and then I had to sit out for 2 weeks of that,
Oh,
and then I
wow.
finally came back, tear my ACL.
Oh,
So
shoot. I didn't know that.
that was like the turning point of like all the recruiting. Because
Right.
at that point, midway through the season, like coaches were calling me, like coming in, and then I tore my ACL.
And
So
when you said midway?
yep, like the
Damn.
last game of our regular season, I tore my ACL.
Okay. So obviously I'm focused on the mental, right? So
Yeah.
thankfully, I had injuries, but nothing as serious as an ACL or a knee or something like that. What the
Yeah.
heck's that like, man? Coming home like week 1 where you're just adjusting to like this just happened. How do you get over that? What do you do? Or did you struggle?
I struggled.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be lying if I said I didn't. I struggled. You can ask my parents. I struggled. It was more so the fact you sit there and you're like, how did this happen to me? Like you see it on TV, but it's like you don't think it's gonna happen to you ever.
Right.
And when it did, it was like first thing I thought was, yeah, I'm not going to college. That was the first thing.
Yeah.
And it was like, man, I got to play my senior season. How can I get back on the field? So like those first, I want to say 6 months, 7 months. Like it wasn't like a month or two.
Right.
It was more so just like mental, like me just trying to get out my own head.
Right. Did you hit like therapy right away? Like what resources were in place for you there? Like was it a good setup or no?
I didn't get surgery. It happened in November. I don't think I got surgery until December. Mm-hmm. And the funny thing was, I was going to therapy for my shoulder because I had got the stinger.
Got it.
And
right.
one day I had walked back in there in crutches, and they were like, "Wait, what happened?" I was like, "It's on ACL." So now I had to do therapy on my shoulder and my knee.
Right.
So I was like, "Yeah,
man,
come on."
Shoot, man, that's tough. And like I said, it's you're going through that process where there's a whole lot of insecurity, right? Like the recruiting game, and it's like who likes me, I like them kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? It's a weird game. But now you're down. You're at the hit rock bottom. Like what would be your advice for living through that for somebody that hits that junior year or senior year, has that big injury, and like what would be some words of advice?
Pretty much, honestly, just accept it, because at that point, there's nothing you can do about it. The only thing you can do at this point is grind to get back on the field. And if you really love, playing football, any sport, you'll put the time in to get back, get back. And
right.
That was like, after a while, I was just like, with the support of my family, my friends, my teammates, just people around me, and just continuously, motivating me, like, yo, you could do this, you could do this, you could do this. And after a while, it like kind of dawned on me, like, you know what, let me get right.
Mm-hmm.
Let me get my own head for a little bit. And that's what happened, you just gotta push yourself. Like, you will find yourself pushing yourself to new limits at that point, because you pretty much starting from square root one at that point. Like,
you no doubt
had to learn run again, like you pretty much starting all over again.
So when did you, so that happened junior year, fall. When did you get back on the field? When did you feel 100% comfortable, I guess? And tell me about that moment, I guess, like that mental going back into the game and saying like, I don't know, are you timid? Can you be timid? Or when is it time to let it loose?
Yeah. I think I finally got comfortable again because I missed the first 3 games of my senior season, which was tough. But I think I finally got comfortable probably like week 6 after taking like hits to my leg.
Right.
And now I was like, you know what? I'll play offense. Because when I first got back, I didn't play offense because I was kind of scared to get hit in the leg again.
Got it. Did the injury happen on offense? Got it.
Yeah, I was at quarterback.
Oh, shoot. Yeah.
Yep. And we ran a sweep. I cut back, and yeah.
Damn.
And then like my first play back, I got hit in the leg. Man. Literally, the first play back on the field, I was like, okay, it held up, but like I still wasn't comfortable until like another few weeks.
Right.
Yeah, so
That's crazy. Okay, so
tough.
senior year, you're rolling. When do the colleges come back in, and kind of what are those conversations like, I guess?
So it all started this summer going into my senior year because obviously the schools knew I had torn my ACL and everything.
Right.
Um, and it was just crazy because that summer I had finally heard about Stony Brook. That's when I heard about because my teammate Ramani Garrick, you know
Okay.
Ramani,
Yeah, yeah.
uh, he had went to the Rutgers camp and met Coach Woods. Coach Woods,
Okay. Yep, yep.
the line coach. Yeah, and they connected there, and me and him spoke about it. And then I forgot who I spoke to at that time.
Mm-hmm.
I spoke to a few coaches, and it was one week, and I went up to Temple, and I pretty much committed, right? And
To Temple.
Temple, yeah,
Got it.
that was like where I was going.
Right.
And that summer, a lot of schools were like, "Yeah, we're just gonna wait for your senior year to see how you come back and everything." And then senior year came, and these coaches were still around.
Right.
But then I noticed like a lot of them dwelled off.
Mm-hmm.
You start to less phone calls, less text messages. So that's when,
Right.
like, I think that's when I'm like my bond with Stony Brook became so strong because they was there the whole time.
Who was recruiting you, like, individually? Do you know?
Coach Thompson.
On it, Tony Thompson,
Yep.
ladies and gentlemen. One of the best New York City and that area recruiter, man. Great guy.
That's nice, man.
Nice.
He showed like that. He showed a lot of love, and which was important to me personally because
Right.
I just got off of ACE up here. At that point, I'm like, what hell with these coaches.
Right.
At that point, I'm like, college is not looking too bright, and he was just consistent, very consistent.
So,
and that's how it all came up.
yeah. So you just mentioned two things. So important to a kid coming out of high school, like, what are the qualities that you want to see in somebody that's recruiting you from a school? You talked about consistency and just being there, being authentic, right? Is there anything else that kind of struck you that you felt comfortable with?
Just the environment at Stony Brook, because I went there for a homecoming game, Amani, against, I forgot.
Which is the best game to go to.
Yep, the best game right there is homecoming. They had played against Colgate, and the environment was just lovely.
Yep.
And I think within recruiting to all my younger athletes out there, you definitely don't fall in love with the name. Like, that's one thing I wish I didn't do, was fall in love with those names.
Right.
Such as Alabama, the Clemson, the Ohio State, those powerhouse names. Like, one thing someone told me was it's okay to be a big fish in a small pond, but you don't always have to be in a big pond.
No
you
doubt.
know, and
that's a huge message, man. Huge.
Yeah, like, don't take just if you want to go D1AA, go D1. Like, it's nothing wrong with it, and it's proven because everybody's mindset is I'm going to the league.
Right.
And honestly, you can make it to the league from anywhere.
No
That's
doubt.
if you're doing what you need to do, they'll find you.
Right. I think about that all the time. I took my shot as kind of the small fish in a big pond, and it was like, man, if I went to a smaller, a 1AA school, and I went as a quarterback and I got moved to safety, but it's like my dream was to play quarterback, and it was like the reality is you want to get reps. You need to get on film on the field. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to do much coming from the bench. So it's like, I always wondered, what if? But at the same time, in the same breath, I would say no regrets whatsoever, right? So you make a decision, and go for it. And it turned out great for me, but to each their own. So it's really interesting to hear that, man. That's cool.
Yeah. Definitely, I would definitely say, just take the time out to sit down with your coach, really, really get to know him.
Right.
And just make sure when you do take your visit, everything is authentic. Because coaches will tell you anything just to get you to their school. Remember.
No doubt.
You got to bring in kids too.
Right. They got a job, they got income and responsibility for sure. And one of the cool things, I don't know if it's always at that level, but like, especially at Stony Brook with Coach Priore, there was not a ton of turnover, you know what I'm saying, as far as staff. So, obviously it's college football coaching, like people come in, people go, but at the same time, there was always that kind of central group of coaches that created that culture, which is huge for a player to come in and know that community,
That was definitely huge. Because my time there, I think, like, obviously coaches came in and out, and,
Right.
you left.
Yeah, I was one of them.
Yeah, you was one of them, but it was pretty much the same core. Like,
Right.
Coach Hemp was the coordinator my whole time until my senior year. So, like, Coach Mack was there, Coach Rich was there. Like, those guys were still there the whole time I was there.
Yep.
Like, there was no drop-off as having to always meet a new person every year.
Right.
Just on the defensive side.
Yeah, that's huge. What can you give me? All right, so now we're at Stony Brook, on Long Island.
Yeah.
I guess culture-wise, I mean, what was it like? Locker room, teammates. What was life like as a player there? Because obviously, I didn't see that side.
Hey, man. It's funny. I was just talking to one of my boys, Coop, and I was like, yo, I kind of miss Stony Brook because it's not a big school.
Right.
And you find yourself kind of knowing a lot of people. Like, you kind of know the community, and the community knows you. And Stony Brook was just, it was like a good time, I would say. Sure. It was definitely a good time. It was a good vibe, and I enjoyed it because the relationships I built there, I know it's going to carry on for the rest of my life.
Right.
Like, I still talk to pretty much all the DBs. Like, I still talk to them.
Yeah.
Not all of them, but
right.
Yeah. But I still talk to pretty much a lot of people from my time there, and even I still talk to Coach Rich, Coach Thompson. I still talk to those guys. So it wasn't just football. That was the one thing I would say.
Right.
There was always those conversations outside of football, like, how are you doing today? Like, how's school? How's everything? And that's what it's about.
Absolutely.
Like, there's so much football. There's life.
There's no doubt, man. The relationships that are made there are so strong and stay strong forever. But one of the cool things that I saw, so Stony Brook was a growing school, right? And it was a new football program. I don't know when it was, no disrespect, but I don't know all the history, but it wasn't old, and it jumped up through the divisions. Like, started off as a Division III school like in the 80s, and was already up to, when you got there, 1AA Division I football program. So with that being said, you guys, your group, were kind of a part of a group that created that New York identity, because a lot of the times there were, guys from smaller towns and things like that, but a lot of transfers were coming in to kind of build the program. But your class and the classes around you really created that identity of that toughness, that constant, like, your class might have been one of the first classes that were there all 4 or 5 years. You know what I'm saying? So that's something cool to be a part of for sure.
Definitely was. We definitely felt like, because our first 4 years there, we didn't make the playoffs. And my senior year, we finally,
right,
kicked the walls down. Let's get in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And that just came from, I feel like, obviously working hard, but the bond that we had as a group, like, we all had one mindset. And it was just that one goal of, let's get to the playoffs.
Right.
Like, let's kick the door down, and when we get there, let's make something happen.
That's awesome.
And that was our mindset that year.
That's awesome. Go to, I guess, because my favorite part of football, the science of football, right? Techniques, the X's and O's. Give me a little something, I guess, that was, most popular, or, one of the key schemes that you guys always ran, or techniques that you were always comfortable with.
At Stony, we ran a lot of quarters, which is, it's like, man, but there's rules to it. I can't really get into it,
right.
Stony Brook. But we also did the shuffle technique, which I enjoyed. I had mixed feelings about it.
Okay.
At first, when I first got there, I was like, man, I want to pedal because I came from playing safety.
Okay,
and now I'm
right.
at corner and shuffle. And I think probably my junior, senior year, I started to kind of feel more comfortable with it. I'm like, it's kind of predetermined which foot you're planting off of.
Right.
Which
True.
makes things a lot easier. You know, there was no T-step, there was no motor, it was just plant and drive.
And did you, while you say that, but there's one single foot that you're planning on because of the shuffle technique, did you play on like one side all along, or were you boundary to or field or move? You know what I'm saying?
I played to
the field. Okay.
Yep.
So it wasn't one leg, 1 foot every play. So depending on what side of the field you were. All right. So take me real quick. Take us through that shuffle technique. So obviously that's a part of quarters, right? And and this is general. This isn't specific to a school or a scheme, but where are your eyes starting off? So if you're in quarters technique, and that's kind of like you said, kind of like a man zone. If somebody goes away, somebody's coming back. Give me an idea where your eyes are to start the play, and we're talking pass at least.
Okay.
Let's say two. All right, 2 receivers out to the field. So 2 split receivers.
Okay, let's say we are in. I can't really do too much of this, but you know, if we're in cover 3, my odds are to the quarterback off a rip, you know.
Right.
And my first steps are like, I'm pretty much not even moving. I'm gonna be honest.
Right.
And those are my 3-step reads. Like my 3-step is my quick slant, my quick out, you know, hitch, anything that now, my screens, you know. So my first 2 steps is like I'm getting my information from the quarterback, which is like my slow shuffle, you know, easy. And now from there I pick up into if I see play action or 5-step drop. Now I'm picking it up into a crossover. And then that crossover, let's say we're in cover 3, right? I'm midpointing 1 and 2. So I'm literally splitting 1 and 2.
Okay.
But I'm not crossing the hash. I'm never crossing the hash.
Love this. I love this talk right here, man. Keep going. Okay. So
let's say we're in quarters, for example, and this is something, you know, I've seen studying film, and say we got 2 receivers, my read was 2 to 1.
Right.
So I still had that same 3-step demeanor, but my 3-step demeanor now had to be a little quicker in a sense, because now I got my eyes to 2 and not the quarterback. So I can't really see everything now. I can't see the whole picture.
Right.
But I can still see it from the corner of my eye. But my eyes are on 2.
Right. So you're seeing, to simplify the picture right here, quarters, when Trey says number 2, we're talking about the number 2 receiver. So the guy on the most outside receiver is the number 1 receiver, and then the man inside of him is number 2. So in a way, you're looking at number 2, but your eyes are seeing through him and understanding the quarterback's demeanor as well, which is crazy, people. All right, the simple people that watch football, which is great, and fans, do you understand the difficulty of that technique? Anyway, so, and then number 2 can basically do, you know, one of 3 things, right? He could be running vertical, right? Yep. He could be out right away to you, or he can go in right away to you. And kind of, I understand you don't have to go through all of that, but you know, there's different things that you're doing depending on what 2 does, correct?
Yep, exactly. So that's pretty much it. Like everything you're doing is based off 2. And now as you see 2, you also got to remember, you got to see in the corner of your eye 1. Because now if that 2 goes away, you got to snap your eyes to 1 and find him now. Right.
And don't forget, he might be screaming down the football field and running right past you. So there's obviously a sense of urgency in the cushion and all that. That's great, man. I love that. I love that. So, you know, finished up a great career, obviously, at Stony Brook, playoffs the senior year, right?
Yep.
And then they went, how many years after that? 2 in a row, or was it 3 in a row?
Ooh, I think they went the year after. I don't think they went last year.
Right. Cool, man. And they made a run. They made a run after, but you know, and that's all in a testament to kind of what's going on there. Coach Chuck Priore and his staff, tons of respect over there. They're doing some big things, man. And even the administration and the support. They got the indoor facility put up there. They got the pipeline to Long Island and New York City football, man. Underrated. So awesome.
All
right.
They definitely built that program.
No doubt. So you get out, right? The real world hits. And so when, talking about DB movement as well, did that happen, that start up right after graduation, or kind of when did you get back? When did you start up with that?
Right after graduation, I was kind of in the moment, and I'll be completely honest with you. I was in that phase of, do I train for pro day? Do I not train for pro day? Can my body hold up?
Man, we were all in that same position, man. I lived that for sure.
I was at that phase, but I decided to give the pro day a shot, and I went to Virginia and I trained at TNDO Gym with Giovanni Ruffin, my boy Corey out there, and I trained for pro day. It was a great time, a lot of hard work, and throughout that time, I think it started to resonate to me like, hey, like I think I want to do something with DB.
Right.
Like throughout that time, because they taught me a lot of good stuff there, and just from Coach Rich as well, Coach Hemp, and just being around just those two at Stony Brook, and then meeting Mr. Giovanni Ruffin at TNDO, it was just so much I learned from those three.
Right.
And also my high school coach, rest his soul, Coach Sanchez, and all four of those guys, I had learned so much. And after pro day, I was sitting there, I'm like, it is what it is. I want to get back now. That's when that hit me like
so instantly. That's great.
Yeah, exactly. So that's when it really hit me like I want to be a coach. And I didn't really start DB training until pro day was in March, probably June. That's when I was like, yeah, I want to do this.
So you hit it. And now are you're coaching at school too, right? At
Yep.
At high school, right?
Yep.
That's what's up, man. As far as real quick, I have to mention Coach Hemp and Coach Rich, because Coach Rich would be pissed if I didn't mention his name, man. So
great, my God, man.
No doubt. Great friend of mine, great DB coach. Coach Hemphill, Lyle Hemphill, came up from the Delaware ranks and grinded into a defensive coordinator spot, and now is the defensive coordinator at Wake Forest. And he actually, so we met. My first job was at Hofstra. Rest in peace to the Hofstra football program. But Coach Hemp was the DB coach. I was kind of his assistant, making nothing, but learned a ton from him. And he actually was the one that hooked me up and got me the job at Stony Brook when I was at another school. So tons of respect for him, man. Great coach. And so is Coach Rich and everybody else over there. All right, so you're back in the high school ball, DB training. Give me an idea, like you said, what's the mission behind what you're doing right now, and where do you see kind of that movement going, and the plan for it, I guess.
Yeah, well, the purpose of it was simply me giving back to the youth, and right now I feel like this is an important time in our society, in this world. The youth just need some direction, and ultimately, I don't want DB movement to just be a DB training. I
right.
want it to, do some more things, as far as impacting the community, doing different things for the youth, just a few different things I wanted to lead to. And me doing this training and, coaching is obviously to give these kids knowledge and insight on things I learned
right.
at that, and, and things I'm still learning from a few of my teammates that are in it and stuff. And it's just to give back to them. So when those moments come for them, they've been there.
Right.
So
and that's what's crazy, not to cut you off, but when you say that, like, you don't think you have that knowledge until basically you come back into a crowd and it's like, oh, wait a second, like this flows easy for me, right? Like you were at Stony Brook and even through high school and getting grilled every day with this technique and being bothered with this stuff to the point where your head's going to explode. But now you're out transferring it to another group, and it's like, man, I know way more than the average dude. So that's great that, like you said, the purpose behind it is to give this knowledge to those younger guys and really spread the word and even do more. So I respect the crap out of that, man. Absolutely. What, talking about some of the kids you see and work with, what are some major DB problems or issues that you work on that you see a ton with maybe new kids that are coming into your program and stuff?
one of the issues I see a lot, and this is like literally at every level,
Mm-hmm.
is eye discipline.
Yes.
At every level, I don't care what level it is, eye discipline. And you know, I preach it, and every time I have a session, I tell my kids these 4 things is like the 4 things that I feel like can make you a good DB is first, good stance, good base,
Right.
good eyes. What is it? Fast arms. I believe in playing in position. You gotta have fast arms. Like sometimes in the position, we tend to stop our arms, which the way the body works, you stop your arms. Your feet kind of stop when you're in the back pedal. So now your brakes aren't as clean as you would like. You're not getting out as fast as you would like. And the 4th one is just be smooth. I feel like when you are just smooth, things come easy. When you're out there panicking and you just got a lot going on, is when you start messing up.
Right.
Like this game is about being relaxed. Like you don't know when this game will end, so enjoy it. Why are you putting so much pressure on yourself?
No
Just
doubt.
be smooth.
That's the truth, man. I mean, any position really, but as a DB, I had a major problem at safety, like my junior year in college to senior year. And I got hurt senior year, but the difference mentally, like the physical, I mean, yeah, you make your differences in the weight room and agility and all that stuff, but the mental switch that goes on when you actually know, when you're confident, like junior year, you're playing not to screw up, right? At least for me. And then senior year, or when you get to that, like you're the guy, it's second nature and you get to be an athlete. And it's like a lot of guys struggle with that. And it's tough. It's like, you get in the film room. Well, it's like, how do you watch film and how do you learn? So that's the cool thing as far as like finding different approaches with kids and trying to get an understanding of how they learn, man. But yeah. That switch, talk about that. Like, when did you feel that? Did you that comfortable, especially at Coach Hemp's defense wasn't an easy defense, right?
Nah, it wasn't at all. It definitely wasn't. It definitely wasn't. But I think I became comfortable. Oh man! Obviously, my senior year I had a great year.
Right.
I feel like my sophomore year, I was comfortable, but I felt like my junior year wasn't my best year because I felt like I put too much pressure on myself. And after having like a pretty decent sophomore year, it was like I applied so much pressure on myself that I kind of, got into my head a little bit my junior year, and I forgot to have fun playing. And that's what led to senior, and I was just like, you know what? Hell with it. I'm just gonna have fun, man.
No doubt.
That's what it led to.
You were always the guy smiling, man. That smile never left your face. If you literally, like, everybody could say, like, just have fun, like, you were a guy that had fun, man. And I respect that because my anxiety was at a sky level playing football, man. And I was just like, please don't screw up. Please don't screw up. But literally, to me, that's the difference. If you can relax yourself and relax your mind and just go out there and do what you've always done since you were 7 years old, like that's when you make plays. So that's cool, and man.
That's also a huge testament to the people around, my teammates, Tariq Everett, Chris Cooper, Gavin Heslop, Darren Perry, like so many
Ballers.
people, like dudes like Devontae, like it was just so many dudes. Winston, like those guys led the way, and just Coach Hemp, and they just made you, kind of feel comfortable. Like you felt comfortable with that group. You always felt comfortable in that defensive back group, always.
Right. That's amazing, man. Well, cool. How about, just thinking about years to come, future, like what's in front of you? What do you want to happen, I guess? Not everybody has a plan. I'm 37. I don't have a clue what I'm doing, but, what are your thoughts?
You kind of right there, you just kind of made me, take a sigh relief.
No doubt.
Every day I'm like, what am I about to do? I'm 25. I'll be 26 next week. I'm like, I need to get my life together.
Young as hell,
but
man.
Now you say that, it's like, life, like you got to take what life kind of gives you,
Right.
But ultimately, I still want to coach, ultimately at some point, down the line I want to be a head coach somewhere,
Right.
high school.
Right.
This DB movement thing, I wanted to, build. I want to build it. But like I said, ultimately, it's not just about me training DBs or whatever position it is.
Right.
It's more so about the knowledge and me building these young men.
Right.
And prepare them not just for, future endeavors in football, but in life,
No doubt.
Like helping them understand, like, it's just a game. Like, once it's over, it's over. You did what you did, and now there's the life after it. And
right.
help them understand that aspect of it.
I respect that, man. I think if there's one thing I learned, even, my age right now, like, regardless of how old, you're still younger than you think. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, like, the most important thing I've learned literally within the last 2 years, it's like, how much value can you provide to your community? And your community might be my 3 kids in the house, or, the 5 DBs that you're coaching, or whoever's listening to you. Not talking about money, not talking about what you can get from them, but how much value can you provide those eyes that are looking at you? You know what I'm saying? So I truly believe if you do that and keep doing that, stuff comes, man. Opportunities come, partnerships, and, all that's good stuff, man. And it's at least doing what you love doing. So I respect that, dude. I love it. We need some more convos, man.
Hey,
we'll keep this going.
I'm always up.
No doubt. I'm gonna get that connection going back to New York and see what kind of things we could drum up for sure. I got I partnered up with some youth organizations around here that have some great, like, structure and, like, vision to it, and definitely want to stay in contact and just kind of share information and see if you could build something like that or something similar, man. It's always what I'm trying to do is create that circle and just like-minded people and just thinking about the same stuff and eliminate the distractions and the people that are just going different directions. So you're one of them, man. Anytime you need anything, have any questions, I love what you're doing. I'll follow, support what you do. Just keep it rolling.
I appreciate it. And, I'm always following what you do, man. This is great. This is definitely great.
No doubt, man. I appreciate you spreading the message, and we'll talk to you soon, Trey. I appreciate it. Coach Trey, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks a lot, man. It's great to see you, man.
Hey,
take care.
Hey, nice to see you too, Coach. I truly appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. Anytime. I'll talk to you soon.
Yes.